All right. All right, my friends, thanks for joining. I would like to introduce my friend and team member, Nicholas. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Now, give me 1 second. I just got to put something on Instagram real quick.
Cool deal.
And we are ready to go. Okay. And let's see here. All right. Remove. Yeah, apparently Instagram's not going to work. I'll try that. Okay. Oh, I think I got it, actually. I should do one of those things for more than 30 seconds. All right, there we go. We are up and running. Nicholas, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So now, Nicholas, you are an agent on our team.
Yes.
Cool. And you are a native. So tell us for a few minutes, like, where are you from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am born and raised here in St. Johns County. I'm 22 years old. So I grew up in Jolington Creek. I moved to Durban. Now I'm off to 10. So I've actually had some cool experience in like all the different communities, personally living in each one. But so I've lived here all my life. I know the beaches very well. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Yep.
I went to a school here locally, and now I'm here serving the clients.
Well, very nice. Cool. So you're local, and you've seen a lot of changes in St. Johns County.
Yes, I have. Yes.
All right. So cool. So today's video, what we're going to talk about is we are going to talk about homes. Like, okay, so you want a house with a swimming pool. Awesome. But what happens if you can't find the perfect house with the pool already there? What are some options that you may have so that you can build a pool? Because not every home, you can't build a swimming pool at every home. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
All right. So, Nicholas, what is the number one thing, the first thing that if you're working with buyers and they want to get a home with a swimming pool, what is the first thing that we look for?
Yeah. So we're with the client, we're with the buyers. We want to build a pool that does, homes that don't have a pool. The number one priority is to see if there's enough space, to see if it's even possible.
There you go. So the lot and the layout on the lot. Yeah, that is definitely one of the biggest things. And a lot of people just think like, oh, a pool will fit back here, but they don't realize it's like, okay, but you need X amount of feet. And I don't want to say what it is because it may vary in a few different places.
Right.
But you need X amount of feet off any load-bearing wall. You need X amount of feet off the back of the property line if there's a retention wall or something. Yeah, so so you definitely need to look at the lot, and I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I think most people would have guessed that.
Right.
Well, the next thing that I would say is the most important after that would be HOA rules. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. A lot of people, I feel like, could probably oversee this, get excited, find the perfect home. It has enough space. And then the HOA has regulations or bylaws that said, nope, you can't do it. And you might have, other problems that you run into. So that's crucial when you're looking with your real estate agent. You're looking for a home that has enough space, and you think you've done all your due diligence, and you go under contract, you buy this home, and then you go up to the HOA, and they're saying it's not allowed. So that's happened.
Not only that, but it could be more than just a pool. It could be like you want to put in a certain type of enclosure. You want to put this in. You want to put that in. They may say yes or no to it. So
right, absolutely, and it's not just that. There's actually some criteria that some HOAs say that let's say you want a waterfall or you want certain decks or anything. There are some things that you cannot do if you have this perfect dream pool in mind. You would never think that the HOA would say nope, can't do that. So.
Well, the way we handle that on our team is, Nicholas obviously knows this, but I'm saying this for our viewers. Is we if you're getting we can't share the HOA bylaws for every single house. I mean, if you're going to go look at 10 houses, you're going to read 10 sets of bylaws, probably not. Right. But once we start kind of zeroing in, on the location, Once that happens, then we'll get the bylaws for you. We'll get them before that if you want them, but and just have you do a quick review and just make sure there's nothing in here that causes a problem. Nothing to do with swimming pools, but I've seen some that don't allow gardening.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, well, and the reason is they don't want you bringing wild animals
Right.
into the into the area, so that's why they don't want you. I mean, you can grow like flowers and such, but they just don't want you growing like lettuce and corn and stuff like that.
Right.
Cool. All right. So the number 3 thing is, and this is not going to be visible to the naked eye, is easement and restrictions.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a big one. A lot of people don't think about this one, and so it's going to be crucial that you have a survey provided from when the home was previously sold to review and see where those easements are. Because, like Andrew just said, you could easily look at the lot, think you're A-okay, and not realize you're looking exactly at an easement that you cannot place a home on, or build, or disturb, or any of the following.
No, for sure. Yeah, there was an article. I wish I still had it. It was down in Babcock Ranch, but and nothing to do with swimming pools. We're talking about easements.
Right.
There was this person. I'm not going to say the name of the builder. I don't feel like getting sued, but they build here in this area too. Mm-hmm. And this person bought a home, and while they were at the house, the site agent it said, "Oh yeah, the property goes down to the lake. It's a nice size yard. Cool, great." Well, they buy the house, they close on it. A few weeks later, they went through the backyard and paved the sidewalk.
Wow. Okay.
Now, yeah, instead of like I don't remember the exact article, but it was like instead of 60, 70 feet, the person only had like 20 feet.
Wow.
So yeah, and new construction, sometimes the builders will tell you they don't have a survey. They have one.
Right.
So you don't. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, another time I was in Coastal Oaks in Nocatee showing homes, and this house had a big yard. I mean, plenty of room for a swimming pool.
Mm-hmm.
They had an easement in the back of it. I forget what kind of easement it was, but they had something there. And you probably, I mean, I'm not an attorney. I can't, whatever, but you probably could not build a pool in that backyard.
Wow.
It's not always visible. Like some of these easements and stuff, like you can't look at them and tell.
Absolutely. Right. And so it's crucial that you take that step.
Cool. So. The other thing is like, okay, so if let's say you're buying your house for like a VA loan or a conventional mortgage, if you're paying cash, this is kind of a moot point. You can throw this out the window. But if you're getting a house with financing, are there certain types of loans that would allow you to buy the house, close on it? It's now your house. And then after that, start construction of the pool and roll it into your financing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's really one well-known loan that this is basically, there's a couple names for it, but we just call it a rehab loan. And what this means is that the loan officer that you're facilitating your mortgage with would take into account how much that loan is going, that pool is going to cost, and add it on top of your current mortgage. So let's say you go under contract to buy the home for $500,000, mm-hmm. You could be financing another $50,000. And when you go to, your down payment, you're putting a 5, 15, 20% down payment on $550,000. And it would be wrapped into your loan, as simple as that. And that's only with conventional. Now, if you're getting an FHA loan, you cannot do this. One thing you can do with an FHA loan, let's say the home is pre-existed, right? And you want to do, let's just for easy terms call it a facelift. You want to do a little bit of rehab, maybe change a little bit of things. There are some programs out there that you can wrap into your FHA loan, but nothing like the same with a conventional as far as building a pool ground up.
Okay, so you're saying an FHA 203K, which is the one you're probably alluding to, the FHA loan.
Yes.
That is for like updating the kitchen, doing work to the house, but you cannot put a swimming pool with that one.
Right.
Okay. But the conventional mortgage, you can.
Yes, you can. Right.
Okay. And so what happens is they buy the house, the seller gets paid, closing happens, everybody takes pictures, puts it on Instagram. And then immediately afterwards, they start construction on the pool. Hopefully immediately afterwards. And then they do kind of like a second closing where now they take money from the mortgage, they pay the pool builder, and then they close out your conventional mortgage at that point, correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay. Well, cool. Yeah, that's definitely a good option. I did not know you couldn't do a pool with the FHA 203K.
Yeah, no. And so you could do certain things with the pre-existing pool. Like you just said, you could do some things to your kitchen and that, and the pool outside deck could fall into that. Of course, you would want to check with your loan officer, but you cannot install a pool, just like you can with a conventional.
Okay, very good. All right. Next up is some tips for new construction. So should you have the builder build the pool or should you do it afterwards? Nicholas, what's your take on that?
Yeah, so this is a tricky one. So if you don't know, when a new construction home is being built and you ask for them to build a home, it's not that they're actually building the pool themselves. They're going to subcontract it out, pull some professionals into it, have them do it, but that's not free to you. So you're paying for the pool, and on top of that, you're paying whatever percentage, 15, 20%, who knows what they're charging, on top of that. Now, that's a pro and a con. I'll start with the cons. The cons, obviously, self-explanatory. You're paying way more than you would if you were to go to a pool company directly. The pro would be that, let's say you run into the problem of there's not enough room for that contract or that pool company to come out after the home is built, everything like that. They're going to charge you at every expense that they can to get past your fence, get past certain things. If they can't get certain equipment back there and they have to hand dig, they have to use smaller equipment, it's going to take them longer. They're going to charge you for every little thing just like that, where it would be more than, it could be more than what a home builder would do. And so you want to kind of weigh those two options, and then you would want to maybe even consider having it put in with the new construction home. But one thing to really remember, if you are certain that you're going to do a pool contractor yourself, is to have your home builder pre-install the plumbing, anything that's included in having a pool ready to go. So when you go and have that pool contractor come out and do what he needs to do, it's kind of just a piece of cake, and he doesn't have to dig into your exterior walls. He doesn't have to do any extra work that's going to cause you extra fees, extra money, stuff like that.
No, absolutely. I agree. In fact, it's kind of piggyback on that. Like whenever we're working with new construction buyers and, we're if they're building from scratch with new construction. Now, a lot of new construction, you buy something, you're going to get your best deals on a house that's already built and it's ready to go.
Right.
But if you're building from scratch, one of the things I like to tell buyers is like, okay, these are the things you want the builder to do. Something that extends the roof line, something that you need permitting or stuff like that. You can't really do after that. I mean, you can, but it's hard. You definitely want them to do that. But like summer kitchens, for instance, like a barbecue grill and a sink and all that stuff, you can have them do it, but you're probably going to spend 20 to 30% more.
Absolutely.
Maybe about that same number with the pool. It may be, don't quote me on that, but it may be like 20% more when you could just have them do the plumbing for it. Like you said, all the electrical, whatever they need, have it there. And that way the pool builder could tie into it. But yeah, especially when you're building like in your master plan communities, like Nocatee or my neighborhood or a lot of other ones,
right,
are really small. And so if you can't get the equipment back there, well, then you need the builder to do it. Cause that's the only way they got to dig that hole before they really start on the house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's cool.
Yeah, that's just one of those situations where, if you are building from scratch, like Andrew said, you're going to really want to lay everything out and paint the picture and weigh your options, because there's not really is one better than the other. Of course, you want to save money, but on the other hand, you want to make sure it can get done. And you're going to run into problems if the home is built. You're going to run into expenses paying it with the builder. So it's definitely something you want to paint the picture, sit down, and look at everything.
No, absolutely. All right. So we kind of alluded to this before, but let's just say it again. Side yards, they do tend to be smaller in a lot of these communities. It's not uncommon to see 10 feet or less between single family homes. And then you got to remember if the AC unit's there, the fan, so one of the biggest things that you have to be concerned with is even if you have a backyard that's huge and there's no easements and everything's fine, if you can't get the equipment back there, you're not getting a pool. So
Right. And many pool companies run into this problem, and there's things that they can do. I've seen and read articles where they're using crazy equipment like cranes and all this stuff, but it is just racking up your bill. If you're dying for this pool and you're willing to pay any expense, I'm sure somebody will make it happen, but you might be paying a pretty penny.
No, okay. There you go. I was about to say something, but I'll hold my tongue on it. But yes, no, I agree with what you're saying. If you're willing to pay for it, yeah. All right. So one of the things that I like to do too is when I'm working with buyers who if you buy the house that already has the pool, you're going to save a little bit of money probably.
Absolutely.
Because, like putting in a pool is like updating your kitchen. Will it cause your house to sell for more? Yes, but you're probably not going to get every penny out that you put into it. You get some of it, but you won't get it all.
Right.
But one of the things I like to do too when I'm working with buyers and they just really want to have a pool, I'll introduce them to local pool contractors early in the game. They'll find one like, yeah, I like this one, whatever, cool. Okay, great. We then take that, we send surveys or we bring the pool builder kind of into, they're not going to want to go out looking at homes with us, but
Right.
you can send the survey. You can kind of get them involved a little bit to get their pick on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question for you. What's your opinion when you're working with a buyer and they want a pool, but they're really certain on the fact that, hey, like if we build this pool, it can bring tremendous value to the home, and we might be able to sell it for twice or however much more. Where's your kind of conversation going with the buyer, and what's your opinion on that?
I mean, my thought on it is okay. A couple of things, and the pool, you're probably not, but then again, like during COVID, everybody had to have a swimming pool. Like you couldn't even get a pool contractor on the phone. And so then you would have gotten every penny out of your house.
Right.
But that's not normal. I'm 47 years old, and that's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. So hopefully I don't again. But anyway, yeah. So I don't think you're going to get will it add value? Sure. But like I saw one in one neighborhood once where like there was an island in the middle of the pool and like a TV came up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and the TV would come up and down, and so you're not. I mean, do it if you want to. That's fine. I mean, if you got the money and you want to have a pool with a TV
Right.
that comes up and down and fireballs and whatever else, have at it. But you're probably not going to get everything that you put into it. And then one thing is too, you alluded to the financing with a pool and like get a conventional mortgage. You have to. The home has to appraise with the pool.
Right.
So that's the thing too. So what they'll try to do with that is they'll try to find when they're looking for their comparables.
Mhm.
For those of you who don't know, like with an appraisal, you have your subject property, which is in this case the house you're buying, and you've got the three comparables that we're going to build into yours. They're going to want them to have a swimming pool.
Right.
So yeah.
Right.
Cool. But that's not usually too big of a problem. Like if you're in a place like Nocatee or Palencia or Shearwater or whatever, I mean, a lot of the homes have pools, so it's not.
Right.
But cool. So what else you got?
Yeah. Well, I would say, a question I have heard is, and this is kind of like a specific question for Florida, if you're coming from out of state, would you like, is it needed to have a heated pool in Florida? And now, as everybody knows, Florida is hot as can be. But that doesn't mean the pool is as warm all year long. It definitely does cool up, but I would say there's no need for a pool heater here in Florida. I mean, it doesn't get ice cold, and our winters are not cold by any means compared to other states. And so it might even be a little bit of a lower maintenance cost if you were to have a pool somewhere in a different state.
That's interesting. So, all right. Well, keep in mind though. All right, I'm going to agree and disagree with you. I mean, on one hand, yes, this is Florida, and we're definitely warmer than where people are moving here from.
Right.
But it does get a little chilly down here. I mean, it can get down into 40s and 50s. But the big thing with the pool is how much it costs to heat it.
That's very true. Absolutely.
I've had that. I've heard people complain about that a lot.
Yes, I've heard the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a swimming pool myself. That's a good thing to bring up though. But yeah, no, it can be expensive to heat your pool. And I know there's all kinds of little things like I've seen like things on the roof of a house where like the water runs through it, and it's not like solar powered per se, like where it's solar panels generating electricity.
Right.
But I think the water runs through it and it heats it up and then it puts it back in the pool or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that. And yeah, I one thing is too, like if you're in, let's say like a community with natural gas. Now the difference between propane and natural gas is like propane has like tanks,
Right.
and like your barbecue grill or something. But like other ones, like in Nocatee, well, some parts of Nocatee, Palencia and such, the natural gas is piped in. So I don't know if that would be cheaper or not for heating up a pool, natural gas as opposed to electricity. I would think it is, but I don't know.
Right. One other thing I heard was somebody was talking about like when they do have a home built, is it worth the money and the extra expense to have an enclosure around it? Just a typical black enclosure. Now, it can get quite expensive, but I can tell you just from seeing many homes with pools with enclosures and non enclosures, it can actually be quite the difference when keeping your pool clean. So let's say you're living around trees or, it's wide open. I mean, your pool can get flooded with leaves and dirt. I mean, and you name it. And it became quite the hassle to keep that sucker clean and keep it filtered out. And when you have it enclosed, I mean, you're not worrying about that problem at all, besides maybe the typical vacuum cleaner and the chemicals, et cetera. But so I would say, if you're asking for my opinion, if you wanted enclosure or not, I would say it's worth every dime you spend.
It is. And then you got to factor too, in the summertime, the mosquitoes.
Oh, without a doubt. Yep.
Yeah, it's because your entire body's not going to be underwater the whole time. So
exactly. Yeah, if you're, have a backyard for entertainment, and the whole thing's enclosed and you have a door. I mean, it is a game changer. Besides the pools that don't have one, and you're feeling the mosquitoes and all that good stuff. So that was a good point. Yeah.
So speaking of pools that are not enclosed, did you see the news? What happened a few years ago? The YMCA in Ponte Vedra Beach.
I didn't hear about this. No.
I guess somebody went out in the morning to go swim their little laps or something, and thank God they looked down. There's a large alligator in the bottom of the pool. So
now that's even a fantastic point to bring up. We live in Florida. We have alligators. If you're, buying a home with a pool on a lake or on a good sized pond, we've seen it. I mean, I'm sure if you're on Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that, I'm sure you've seen some videos.
I don't get it. I've lived in Florida my entire life. when I was younger, I used to go out fishing in the Everglades all the time.
Right.
Scuba dive, not in the Everglades, but scuba dived off the beach, all that fun stuff. Yeah. Never had a problem with an alligator. Never knew anyone that had a problem with an alligator. And then you turn on Facebook and you think we're all dying from them. It's like, I was watching this morning, it was like a crocodile, which we don't have crocodiles up here. They're in the very southern part of Florida, although this is Tampa, so I guess the West Coast has them. But anyways, a crocodile and an alligator fighting in some street somewhere in Tampa. Where do you find this stuff? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen that in St. Johns County, so that's a good thing.
No, it was not St. Johns County. We don't have those, and we don't have the all those big snakes.
Right.
Because again, it's colder here, so we don't get that stuff.
Right.
So, well, cool. One thing real quick, you'll notice there's a QR code at the there you go. Is it? Nope, it's the other side. It's over there. It's back
right here. Oh, you mean this side?
Yeah, there you go. It's the top right corner. There's a QR code there, so if you're interested in seeing homes in St. Johns County that already have pools, just scan on it and register. We also have a link down below if you're on YouTube. And yeah, if you watch this video later, let us know in comments if you what your thoughts are. If you have any questions, we do monitor the channel, obviously, and even if it's not the live stream anymore, we'd be more than happy to answer them. And yeah, so Nicholas, thank you very much for coming over.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great conversating with you.
Absolutely. It's always good talking to you, my man. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.